When love hurts. I was a young man once. I had dreams. I had love. My wife and I got married when we were very young. We had nothing, but we had each other. I promised her I would give her a good life, and I tried. Every day I worked hard. I worked long hours. I came home late, but I always came with a smile. I wanted her to be happy. I wanted her to live her dreams. I never thought about myself. I only thought about her. She wanted a nice house. I gave her that. She wanted new clothes. I worked more to buy them. She wanted to travel. I saved money for that too. I gave her everything. I gave her all my time, all my heart, all my energy. Sometimes I was tired, sometimes my body hurt, but I did not stop. I told myself, one day she will thank me. One day she will see my love. That hope kept me going. That hope gave me strength. I bought flowers on the way home. She liked white roses. I smiled when I walked into the house. It was quiet. Too quiet. I called her name. She didn't answer. Then I heard a sound from the bedroom. I opened the door. I saw her. She was not alone. A man was there, a stranger. They looked at me. She said nothing. The man said nothing. My heart broke. My hands shook. My mind went dark. I stood there, frozen. My wife looked away. The man stood up, but I didn't move. I felt like I was falling, but I was standing still. The woman I loved, the woman I worked for, had broken me. From that day, I changed. I was not the same man. I stopped smiling. I stopped dreaming. I became someone else, someone cold, someone empty. That was the day the old me died. After that day, I left the house. I walked for hours. I didn't know where I was going. My legs moved, but my heart was heavy. I felt lost. I felt like a ghost. I didn't go back home that night. I sat in a park until morning. I looked at the sky and asked, why me? I had done everything right. I gave love. I gave time. I gave my life. But it was not enough. Days passed. I stayed with a friend. I didn't talk much. I didn't eat much. I didn't sleep well. I just sat and thought about her, thought about my life, thought about all the years I had given. My friend said, you need to forget her. But how can you forget someone you gave everything to? How can you erase all the memories? I saw her in every street, in every song, in every dream. I wanted to scream, I wanted to cry, but I didn't. I kept it all inside. I smiled when people talked to me, but inside I was broken. My world had changed, and I didn't know how to live in it. One day I went back to our house. It was not my home anymore. I just stood outside. The lights were on. Someone laughed inside. It was not her laugh. Someone else lived there now. My past was gone, just like that. I walked around the city. I saw couples holding hands. I saw families smiling. I felt like I was watching a movie, but I was not in it. I was only a shadow moving through life. I didn't feel alive. I found a small job in a shop. It didn't pay much, but it was enough. I needed something to keep me busy, something to stop me from thinking. I cleaned, I lifted boxes, I fixed shelves. I didn't talk much. I just worked. At night I went back to my small room. I sat alone and looked at the wall. Sometimes I talked to myself. I asked questions. Was I not good enough? Why did she do it? What did I do wrong? But no one answered. Only silence. Weeks turned into months. I stopped counting the days. I just lived. Not with joy, not with pain, just with emptiness. People said, time heals, but some wounds stay open. Some pain becomes a part of you. One evening an old man came into the shop. He looked tired but kind. He bought a small radio. He smiled and said, "You look sad, son." I didn't answer. He looked at me and said, "Don't let the past steal your future." Then he left. That night his words stayed in my mind. I lay in bed and thought about them. Maybe I was letting my past control me. Maybe I was not living, just surviving. Maybe it was time to change something. The next morning I woke up early. I went outside and walked to the park. The sun was warm. The birds were singing. For the first time in a long time, I looked around. I saw life. I saw light. And I breathed deeply. I bought a notebook and a pen. I started writing. I wrote my story. I wrote about my love. I wrote about my pain. I wrote about the day my world ended. The words came slowly, but they came from my heart. Each day I wrote more, and with each word I felt a little lighter, a little stronger. I didn't forget the past, but I started to understand it. I was not the same man anymore. But maybe that was okay. I kept writing. Pages turned into stories. Stories turned into lessons. I didn't write for others. I wrote for myself, to heal, to breathe, to remember who I was and who I wanted to be. One day a woman at the shop saw my notebook. She asked, "Do you write poems?" I smiled for the first time in a long time and said, "No, just my life." She said, "Your words can help people." I didn't believe her then, but her words stayed with me. I printed some pages and gave them to my friend. He read them and said, "This is real. This is honest. You should share this." I was afraid, but I said yes. For once, I didn't say no to life. A few weeks later, my story was online. People read it. People sent messages. Some said they cried. Some said they felt the same pain. Some said, "Thank you for writing this." And something changed in me again. I started to believe that maybe my pain had a purpose. Maybe my broken heart could help others feel less alone. Maybe I could still give something to the world, not through money, not through gifts, but through words. After I shared my story, many people reached out to me. They told me about their own pain and struggles. I realized I was not alone. There were many like me, hurting and lost, but they wanted to heal. They wanted to live again. I started talking to them. I listened to their stories. I gave advice when I could. Sometimes I just said, "I understand." That was enough. I felt a new purpose, a new reason to wake up every day. Slowly, I began to smile again. Not a fake smile, but a real one. I found small joys in life, a warm cup of tea, a good book, a walk in the park. I learned to live with my pain, not against it. My life was not perfect. I was not happy all the time, but I was moving forward, step by step, day by day. I was rebuilding the man I used to be, a man who had love, loss, and now hope. Looking back, I am grateful for the pain. It made me strong. It made me wise. It showed me who I really am. And now I tell my story to you, to remind you, even in the darkest times, there is light. You can find it. You must find it. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps you in some way. Remember, life is hard, but you are stronger. Keep going, keep believing, and one day you will find peace.